Alright, check this out. This is a Case Cx28, so it's a 2.8 ton digger. Just picked it up. It's about 2002 to 2004, I think they were made. It's not in bad condition. It obviously doesn't work properly, or else I wouldn't have it. So, main problems that we have are this track won't stay tight. You can see I had it adjusted up and the tensioner's back in again, so I'm guessing the adjusters got blown seals or something. So that's quite annoying. And the other annoying thing is we don't really seem to have much power on this ram. She won't lift herself up. So those are the two worst problems. The blade drifts down, which I'm not really sure about. It could be the cylinder or it could be the spools. Obviously we're going to need to do full service on it. We've got diesel leak in here somewhere, but I think it's just coming from off that pipe. The fan belt's loose and may need a new fan belt. Perkins 3-cylinder engine, starts well, runs good. It's a 2 new track motors, but I'm not convinced it's tracking right, but it's hard to tell with the track jumping like that. Inside's not bad really for the age, I guess. Seat's not too bad. We've got some new, I'm going to call it perspex, but it's not, for the doors, because that was broke, to make it watertight. And there's also a weird window up here, or lack of window. I have a quick hitch there for it as well that I've got, so probably need to modify that slightly. And this bucket ram has got a pretty bad leak. It's probably usable, but it's going to need resealed. And if we're feeling adventurous, I'd probably like to get that kingpin board unlined, lined board or whatever, welding board, because there's a bit of play there. Probably the worst joint on it, but like 20-year-old digger, you're going to have some wear in the pins. So yeah, let's get started. We're going to do this track first, because that's arguably the worst and most annoying thing. Can't even move it around properly. And then we'll move on to seeing what is going on with this ram. I'm going to go in here, because I'm assuming that's where the spools are, and probably do a pressure test on the whole hydraulic system first to see where we're at. It's got like one of those multi-stage, you can't really see it, pumps in there, so I'd say there's probably a couple of places to test pressure on it. And I would be fairly confident that's just low on oil. So ideally I'd like to do hydraulic oil filter and fill it up to the right level with oil. That'll probably help the hydraulics. So yeah, we're going to get it washed around the tracks first here anyway, just so when I'm trying to pull this adjuster out, it's cleaner. There's the other buckets, the shuck buckets on it. There's digging bucket, another digging bucket, and like a wee transfer bucket. And here's my semi-quick hitch. And I have the fit as well. I bought some bar to make some new pins, 35mm pins. But we'll get the digger working first. So I decided I'm going to try and fix the weak hydraulics first, because it'll make it easier to get this track changed, because if we can't push down, then I can't really get the side of her off the ground very easily. So we're going to start on that. Right, I give in here another wash, and it's pretty good. I'm going to assume that this is a feed from the pump, and that's a feed from a pump, the other feed from the pump, because they're bigger and they look like they've got those test ports on them. So I've got this kit here. Right, so that end there screws on to here, I hope, and then the other end screws onto one of these gauges, and then we can test to see what the pump is making, because if the pump's not making pressure, there's no point in hooking in around the spool valve. So we're going to test these two first. Hoping that they're going to be good, and that means the pump's good, because there's only a few of the operations aren't working, so I'm hoping that it'll be somewhere in here. And I'm looking at, that looks like a safety valve, that looks like a safety valve, and I think there's one down there as well. Because when you're pushing the levers, and it doesn't have the power, but it does sound like it's unloading oil pressure, so I'm hoping they're just worn or stuck, or a bit of grit stuck in them or something. So we're gonna start first, see what pressure we're getting, and then that looks like another one there, and then we'll move on from there. 3,000. Right, I'm gonna pick that one. These hydraulics should run around 200 bar. There's 3,000 psi, which is the same thing right at the top, so that'll be fairly accurate. The ring seal. Right, on the first one. That was one of the operations that I thought was okay, and it's going to 2,500, so that's not a million miles away. We'll move on to another one. There's one there pointing down the way. Maybe this is pump, I don't know. We'll test it out. Okay, we're on. That was the bucket pushing down in the ground, which wasn't putting up the right power, and we're only hitting 1,000 psi. So we're basically down a third, or down to a third pressure, and that's on this pipe here, and I can hear the safety valve blowing. So I'm going to screw this out, this one, see if there's anything wrong with it, maybe broken spring, maybe dirt, and we can actually reset them. They all look like they've got Allen screws in them there in the end, so we can reset that in there, or you can see it in there. We can reset that to the desired pressure if we can get the safety valve fixed. So that's where we're going next. That seems to leak quite a lot of oil. Alright, strip this valve down. There's the body. That's the next piece. Don't know what that is. Don't know what that is. Clearly a spring. This bit sits down in this bit. And I'm pretty sure this is going to be the... this is going to be the pressure face, that cone. I don't think the camera's going to focus on it, but that sits down inside there. I think it seals in that seat at the bottom. Nothing really looks that bad. It doesn't look worn. Well, it does. It has a bit of wear on it. It doesn't look that bad. So I'm just going to clean everything, put it back in, and see if adjusting it makes any difference. It might just be a matter of putting an extra wee washer in if the spring tension's gone slack over those years. You know, compressing back and forth, opening and closing all the time, it can weaken springs. So we'll put this together, put it back in, and we're gonna screw that bolt in, and that'll add spring tension to here and keep this seat, keep this cone pushed into that seat until the pressure is greater than this pressure, and it opens, and that'll hopefully bring our pressure up on that spool bank. All right. That's it off. I'm seeing grease there. I'm pretty sure it means it is in fact leaking, because the grease goes in up here. Oh yeah, you can see the seal is like blown out or whatever there. So I'm gonna wash this and take it apart. Straight off the bat there, I can see an O-ring in here, split, so that's good, I guess. Probably just full of grease in there still. Oh, that's bad. Oh yeah. Don't think that does any sealing really. I think it's just a dust or dirt seal. So see if we can get some new seals into that. Gonna reuse the support ring, a new O-ring and a new dust seal. So put the O-ring in towards the grease side, and put this in. This is to support, like not the extrusion ring, it's to support the O-ring from the pressure on the other side of it. That is well pitted. Good. Stays, springs back out again. Just picked these up on Marketplace. The guy was giving them away as flower planters or something, but I've got a much better idea for them because they are exactly the same size as the one that we need. That one there is no good though, it's split, but we only need one, and the other one is actually pretty good. Plenty of wear on it, it's not that badly split, and the most important thing is that it has all of these, because ours is missing, because mine's missing 3 of them, so it does an awful banging and skipping when you're trying to drive, when you're trying to track. The track adjuster seems to be working okay. That has stayed tight, which is good. So I'm just going to have to slacken that off again and then drop that track off. But you can see there we're just missing those cleats or lugs. And then when it rolls over that top roller, it bangs down onto it where these aren't sitting. There's missing the two ones there.
look really good.
Looks really good. Not too bad. What's going on here? So the top nut, this is our wiper seal. I'm not sure, there might be a bit of a hydraulic seal there as well. That's the main oil seal there, and this looks like a plastic clip that we can just pop out to get that out, but we need to get this out, get some new O-rings, which hopefully all come in a kit, and then we can put this back together. There she goes. Oh yeah, loose. In reality this is probably the only seal that we need to change, because that one looks good and there was enough pressure when you were digging with the machine, and maybe it was looking a bit flipped over. It created suction when I tried to pull it apart. But seeing as you're this far, put a new set in. Just back from my local hydraulic shop, and we've got a new seal for the end of the cap. We also have a new one of these that I haven't fitted yet, which is here. He said there's nothing wrong with that seal, just reuse it, and we have a new O-ring for in there and 2 O-rings on this. So we're going to put this back together and see if it leaks. The rod's in pretty good shape. There's no dents, dings, scrapes really worth talking about, so I'm just going to give it a wipe and we can reassemble this. Okay. That didn't work. I got it. Alright, so messing with the spool block didn't achieve anything much really, so I'm going to start at the pump and work my way forward from there just to make sure everything's okay, because it does sort of feel like the pump's cavitating or vibrating and pressure's down, so it's a good place to start. I've taken the exhaust and air filter off to give me access. I've drained the tank of hydraulic fluid and I've taken off this thick feed pipe which is to the main part of the pump. It's off. I can't get the smaller one off from underneath, so I'm just going to take this smaller pump off. I think it just bolts on here. I'm going to lift it off and see, take this pipe off. I've marked these and see if I can unscrew the pump from the hose. And then there's just a bolt here and a bolt underneath, and we should be able to lift this out and strip it down. That's one part of it. So we'll have black cable tie for this hose, and blue cable tie and cable tie with a bit of blue wire on, because I could only find one. That's that. Is there anything wrong with the drive? It's the moment of truth. Last bolt. Oh, pump looks okay. Oh. I think that looks okay from what I can see. I didn't think there was actually anything wrong in that, because if it was, it would probably just shear and then you'd have no drive at all, no power at all. And I have got some hydraulic power, it's just not where it should be. So I'd say we're okay there. We'll just get this pump taken apart on the bench and then see where we're at. Pretty excited about getting these apart, because I really hope the problem is in here. So in this pump, as far as I'm aware, there's going to be pistons. I'm hoping. It doesn't really make much difference to me, but I'm hoping when we take this back cover off, we'll be able to find out what's going on. But we're going to start off with the small one just because it's easier. And it's right there. So we need that. No, we don't. I guess the wrong way. Should have marked this. Probably should. Don't even know what this pump does. There's this one, that one, which is like a 2-stage, and then there's another one on the engine. So maybe this is for like the slough or something. But we'll check it out anyway. Yeah, it's like a wee gear one. Really just looking for any wear on these cogs, these teeth, but that all looks quite good. Kind of like an oil pump of a car. Feels alright. That plate there. Does get very little wear. I'll probably just give those a quick sand before they go back together. And then that would be the gasket, which looks okay, unless it's leaking over. But maybe we'll see about getting a new one of those. Okay, nothing too exciting in that one. What does it look like? It's not a comfort that way. What have we got in here? Gasket, plate, that looks kind of worn. Must line up there. Some kind of big spring, a valve, a loader spring of some sort. An adjuster. Oh, that was not the way to do it. Some wee ruler pins. No, they come out there. And then that's that on there. Oh, there's a bit of wear on that face, or corrosion more like. So as far as I know, you're going to get pressure. This is like your plate, your valve plate. It does look like it's grooved there, but I don't really know if that's bad. It probably is. Well, that's a bit disappointing. I thought I was going to find something glaringly obvious. All these wee pistons look fine. I'll clean them all up. The body looks okay. I don't think there's anything can go wrong in there. I've had a good look through everything on this pump now, and this piston and barrel feels lovely. So the only thing I can really see that looks bad is this wear on the valve plate, and there's a wee bit of stuff there and that. So I'm going to try and lap everything up. I'll have finer stuff here. This is just a quick test and see if we can get these parts looking better. It really doesn't take long to put this pump back in, so I think it's worth doing. You can see it's starting to come good already. I think it's worth a try. Throw a few O-rings in it. I think there's an O-ring there. And hopefully that brings the pressure back up. Many hours later, I've managed to get this polished up. So this is the valve plate that was badly scored, and as you can see, there's no scores anymore. I think it's as good as it needs to be. This is the barrel, all the gougings out of it. It was all around there, here and up here. It's all flat now. This fits nice. And I also lapped. Yeah, I polished them up as well. The back of the shoes, or the shoes of the pistons, whatever you want to call those. They run on this face here. So I'm gonna give you a rundown on how I believe that this works, because I've never really had one of these apart. So these live in here. Actually, these 3 pins need to go in here first. They all fit in there. I'll put it up here. There we go. Oh, I forgot that. That sits there. There. So this is the variable displacement part of the pump. This plate runs on the back. I'd imagine the oil comes through here, through the holes. So this is like a low pressure valve here, and as this is turning, the oil comes through here into the pistons and then out the center of the pistons, and you can see these slots or kidneys. They're every other piston. So 5 pistons do these ones and 5 do these ones. So that's how you have the twin outlet on the pump. Then that valve plate sits over here and controls where the oil goes. That's about as technical as I can get. But if that's scored and that's scored, then I'm going to say the oil probably leaking back into the low pressure side, or it's just leaking out in general and not making pressure in the pump. So I'm hoping that by cleaning that up and cleaning these up, add a few O-rings, have a new O-ring there. I've put a new O-ring there for the seal between that and the charge pump, which looks okay. I have a new bearing on the shaft for here. That seal looked perfect, so I just left that. Yeah, we're going to put it back together. This piston and this spring, or these springs, are I believe what controls the varyingness of the pump. That spring rides in this socket here and controls the throw of the pistons, and I believe that the spring will hold a certain amount of flow on the pump, and as the pressure increases, I think this wee poppet pushes out against this from the body and takes the pressure off the pump, I think, but kind of irrelevant. So we're going to put this back together and see if we can get better pressure. Getting that lined up is going to be annoying. Okay. Looks like I can activate that swash plate okay. So I think we're all located. And this is going on with that pointing that way. Yes, I'm just gonna have to screw it together by hand and see. Been nipped up at the back and it seems to turn okay. So that's good. Need to get the pump put on the back then and everything tightened up. No idea what the torque spec on these are, but it was quite tight. Go. There it is, back together. Whether it works or not is anybody's guess, but it's back together. So we paused up everything in here, a few new seals, that looked fine. It all turns. I've reset this to where it looks like it was, judging by the paint on it. So all there's left to do is put it in and see, do we have a digger that works again? Oh, it's heavy.
Operates 26th of February 2024. T's and C's apply. If you can't see the difference between Magnum and imitation, perhaps you can clear it. Like a Magnum is not velvety vanilla ice cream.
I just hold them. That's alright. Can I hold them? If I can, I want. Oh, they're good. What are rubber bands? They look right like rubber.
Oh.
Swing to me. Oh, it's broke.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like it.
What? I just did put it like that. It's just long. Do you know these are new? Are they?
Yep. It's okay, Chloe. It's okay. Alright, here's where we're at with this now. The pump repair didn't seem to make any difference, so there was still cavitation in the line, the pump was bouncing, and I did the unthinkable and bought a manual, which showed me that there is a strainer in the hydraulic tank which used to be in here. Now I have the tank out, and there was indeed a strainer in here. It was on this plate, so it sat like that, and it screwed onto that, and that's the old one there. Now, it wasn't blocked, but it did have holes in it here, and it's like probably the original. So that's probably how the dirt got into the pump, which allowed them to scrape that valve plate. But more interestingly, when I was wrestling to get this tank out, I didn't know that this was on the bottom because I hadn't the diesel tank out yet and I couldn't see. I was trying to take them out in one piece. But this original hose that joined the filter to the pump, so it runs across in here. I can't really see. There's a pipe in there that goes across and then comes out on the other side, and a bit of hose, piece of hose goes onto the pump. That actually broke. Now, I don't think I broke it, and looking at it, it looks like it may have been broke for a good while, just where the Jubilee clip was sitting. And the fact that in here is absolutely caked. And it was caked in mud and oil. I've cleaned it up a bit. But that would sort of tell me that this has been broken for a while, which is where the air is getting into the pump. Well, that's what I'm hoping. So we've got a new filter here, new suction filter. It's 1.5 inches. This one's 1.25 inches, but I have a reducing bush for it, and its flow rate is something like 130 litres a minute at 110 microns or something, which is basically what this one is. So we've got a new piece of suction hose. We're going to join that on. The plan is to put the hose on here and try and get this flange onto the machine, and then set the diesel tank on top of it and then bolt it on, because it was an absolute torture trying to get that all out. I think the problem was I didn't disconnect the diesel tank from the diesel tank sits in here, and I didn't disconnect it from the hydraulic tank. I was trying to lift everything out, but it was catching in here and then it was catching in here. Yeah, it was a torture. So I'm going to put the hydraulic tank in first and hopefully slot the diesel tank in afterwards. That's the diesel tank, that's the top. This bar was catching on the underneath of the cab, which was incredibly annoying, and it bolts onto the hydraulic tank there and there, which I couldn't see any of this, and the manual didn't tell me where the bolts were. But anyway, that's what we're going to do. Put this on here, put the flange on with the filter, and try and set the diesel tank over and bolt it on, bolt the tank down, put the diesel tank in, and hopefully that will sort it. I also have a new filter for the return, so that sits in the top of the tank in here. Not sure if there's anything wrong with that filter, but they were doing filters, we'll do them both. Probably shouldn't. We'll be right. Where that needs to be. Steam cleaned these tanks and most of the paint came off the inside of this, so I've just painted it with black hammerite to try and stop it rusting. With a new O-ring gasket in here as well, and have a new O-ring to go on the top plate where the return filter goes. Now you can see why this was so annoying to get apart. It's against the cab there. It's so close to going through there. I can't go any lower because I'm already here. I think they really want you to do this job with the cab taken off, but the manual didn't say to do that, and I really didn't want to either. I wonder, do I need to just release those bolts, allow that plate down enough to allow the tank in, and then tighten it back up. Okay, that was quite awkward, but I did manage to get it, and as you can imagine, it was very difficult. So we've got the 2 Jubilee clips on the tank. There's 2 Jubilee clips in there, if you can see them, and then I presume that's the return from all the controls going back into the bottom of the tank as well. I haven't bolted the tank down because I still need to fit the diesel tank, so I'm going to see if I can get that diesel tank in now. I don't want to put any oil in this or anything before we have everything back together, and I'm just going to hope that there's no leaks in there. Case filter. Valve, spring, new O-ring. Managed to get this in eventually. It definitely wasn't easy. I had to lift the cab, took the cab mounts out, and tilted the cab over. I really suspect they want you to lift the cab off to do this job, because there's a piece of angle in here and it tucks underneath, and you just can't get these tanks out. It's too much work. So I was going to lift the cab off, but because of where I parked this in the shed, the workshop, you can't get the load all to it, so I had to struggle on. But we've got it in, we've got the diesel in, hydraulics oils in, new return filter, new suction filter, new pipe. I was able to just about get access to that pipe in there from the floor, so if I knew about it originally, I probably would have made life a lot easier. I might release these hydraulic hoses again to prime the pump. So the main problem I was having was that the jib wouldn't lift the machine off the ground. There was no power in the jib at all. And now there's loads of power. Track's better. Alright, true test, let's see what it can lift. I don't know what the lift capacity on this is supposed to be, but if it's enough to tip it over, I'd say it's pretty good. So yeah, I'm happy with that. That's worked. The hydraulics are a lot smoother now as well. I think I still have a vibration in the engine, but hydraulically the way she's working, I haven't done any digging yet. Hydraulically the way she's working, she seems a lot better. Might get better over time as well. Alright, let's try these pressures again now that we've got a working pump. Okay, that section of the pump is getting to about there, which is 1800 psi. It's probably a wee bit low still, but I can hear the pressure relief valve going in the spool block, so it maybe just needs nipped down a wee bit to adjust the pressure back up. Let's try the other side. Going to, I'd say 3,500, which might be a bit high. I don't know, I'm gonna have to check. I think it was 200. I think it was about 250. Well, that would be about right, 250 bar. Maybe you just need to try and get the other one up. I like that. The oil filter seems to be directly above the drain bung, so it's sort of draining the oil into the same place. Drain plugs back in. I'm gonna fill the oil now with this cool oil jug that my dad gave me. Actually, probably could pour it in, but that air intake pipe looks like it's in the way. Definitely cooler than filling with the plastic one. A quart? Don't really know what that is. Looks kind of like a litre. I'd say 3 of those. Maybe more. So the last thing I want to do on the hydraulics is going to be this ram for the blade. It drops, you can actually hear it. You can actually hear it dropping as I talk. I literally turned the machine off, went and got the camera, and that's how much it's dropped. So I'm hoping it's just sealing here. That'll be the easy fix. So I'm going to put the jack under the front here to support the weight. Then I should be able to pull this pin, flip the ram up, and it should be fairly easily fixed. Tasty. Oh yeah. Oh, right. Alright, same idea again. We've got a new set of seals for this ram. It's from my local seal shop. So these are quite easy to rebuild actually. I'll do this first. Simple. That looks a lot better. I got a new pressure seal for in here. I'm not going to bother with this wiper seal because it looks okay and that shop can't get as nice a one for me, so I'm just going to leave that original one. 2 O-rings. Could have swore that O-ring was bigger than that, but I'll get it on. There.
I have the cylinder.
Oh, it just goes into that groove somewhere. That's one way to do it. So that doesn't seem to have worked, so it can only mean the problem's possibly in the spool. And if it is, I have a quick fix for that, which is just to ignore it, because it's only the blade and I'm not overly concerned to go taking the spool block out. That really is the last of the hydraulic problems on this machine. She should be working pretty well now, so we're just going to go and give it a test. Alright, I'm going to end the video here. I suspect it's getting quite long on the repairs to this for the hydraulic system, but it all seems to be working as well as expected. There is a slight difference in the stages. I think it's like 40 bar or something on the pump, but for a machine of this age and condition it's fine. The machine actually operates quite well. I'm sure I'll need to do a few more things to this. I do have a quick hitch that I would like to get fitted, and probably new teeth for that bucket because they're quite worn down. But that'll do us for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.